help us to acquire. And once we acquire this, we use it to support ourselves or develop ourselves holistically by ensuring that we are interacting and learning within the social context. In addition to knowledge and skills, and then also ensure that we are really leveraging on our values as well. So for our hands, they've gotten the knowledge, they've gotten the skills. Are they practicing it? If the child or individual moves beyond just understanding the importance of washing the hands, you go ahead to wash the hand after visiting the toilet, after playing, and then also noticing visible signs of dirt in his or her hands, then we say that there is some level of attitude that has been inculcated for this to happen. And make use of our observational skills. We should use our senses to ensure that we are learning, and learning becomes permanent in our lives. Process emotions, and then support with motor skill development. I ask you to face each other. 10. At least teachers and head teachers also share strong belief in the use of play for developing life skills, as they view play as recreational. And when there's not, to have a shift from that perception. Testing some strategies to see how together the key partners and players gathered here can support us to scale up the play-based learning. There is this suggestion that we all work together to integrate play-based pieces, strategic plans, material documents for teachers in the service and also for pre-service. Fortunately, we have college of education, the principals here, the play leads here. We have the dean and vice dean of the University of Education, Winneba, also present, and want to see how together we can work to integrate this into the educational system. The next one is that play-based learning should be adopted as a separate course in the university and colleges, and also ensure that they align to the curriculum requirements. So we have pre-service, in-service through teacher continuous professional development. Third point is so that we can strengthen the coaching and mentoring process in the district education office. Grants. So this one to GES, Ministry of Education, and donor partners here, so that we can increase the grants to support the provision of teaching and learning materials that will support the use of play-based learning methodology in our schools. In playful activities, we are saying that there are certain characteristics that we need to take cognizance of. Playful activities should be joyful. It should have meaning. It should be iterative. It should be socially interactive. And it should be actively engaging. So these are the 5 characteristics of play that we are promoting. Sometimes we believe that, or we think, we laughed, we had fun, we enjoyed the activity, there was meaning in it, and we want to repeat this activity over and over again. So, for play to be joyful, we are saying that you see learners happy, they are smiling, they are laughing, and sometimes there can be some frustration along the line in the course of using play, but that is okay. And that explains why it is important that we do not laugh over the failure of an individual. The standard-based curriculum provides opportunity, Samlogu, Keta, and Loga, to build the capacity of girls to avail themselves to contest for the positions. So we can start from class prefect, session prefect, to school profession. And because we also organize yearly girls mentorship program in leadership for the girls, that has also built their confidence to apply and avail themselves for this, and that is helping us a lot in the schools that we are working. Now the issue about when was the Midland done and then the baseline. So the baseline was done in 2018, May, and the headline, the midterm,
with some development partners, and in particular, the right to play. And in the particular aspect of play-based learning, which informed many aspects of the curriculum reform, introducing critical thinking and such collaboration and interactive sessions even to learning at the very early stages have proven very effective. And for all the projects that Right to Play in conjunction with, in collaboration with Sabre Learning have been able to implement so far have yielded some very positive impacts, which we must go to scale with. So today we are celebrating the success stories from some of the pilot projects that have been already done and we've seen in our space. We've seen the interactive learning and the play-based learning and the training of teachers to be able to ensure that this learning is delivered. It is to ensure that fundamentally we address some of the deficiencies we have in our education system that stems from the beginning, literacy, numeracy, and spreading accountabilities to even include teachers, parents, the community, and ensure that caregivers also have their role to play to ensure that effective teaching and learning at the lower stages is seen. Mr. Chairman, over the period, the Ministry of Education and the Right to Play have worked together on a number of interventions, as I've earlier remarked, and these activities are aimed at building the capacity of the teachers and the early education space on play-based learning methodologies and approaches. Key activities that we have since implemented, some of which include collaborating to review the training materials on differentiated learning, while learning through play, appropriate approaches, and the use of reflect, connect, apply, questioning techniques have been integrated into the materials to support and improve teacher skills of asking questions that support learners to think back at the activity just experienced and to relate that to what learning, to what they have learned and to what they already know, and the new learning that is taking place, as well as ensuring that learners are able to transfer new learning in similar or familiar situations in everyday activities. And again, there's been a support to train national trainers on the use of the resources developed. 200 master trainers have since received that training on learning through play. Mr. Chairman, the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education Service, with the support of Right to Play and Sabre Education, have ensured that Early Childhood Education Department has received development of training framework and content for early childhood education teachers, focusing on the use of learning through play to deliver the ECE curriculum. We've also trained 620 district teachers support teams for the 3 project targets, and we have targeted Greater Accra region, Volta region, and Northern regions on learning through play, pedagogies, and provision of quarterly transfer of financial support for district teacher support teams to support school supervision. We've also worked with the National Teaching Council to develop coaching and mentoring framework and guidelines to train district teachers support teams and head teachers on mentoring and coaching of teachers. In addition to this, over 10,000 hard copies of the resources were printed and distributed so far to schools and district by NTC. We've also worked to reinforce learners' participation by training peer leaders and leaders of the school clubs on how to lead learning through play activities in the class and out of class to ensure that the slow learners are receiving appropriate support from peers and teachers. One of the cardinal things we've also done is we've worked to provide supplementary learning initiatives to reinforce the development of numeracy and literacy, and to ensure that these provisions are done through children's school clubs and out-of-class activities implemented in collaboration with community-based organizations. And I must say that this particular intervention is so key in helping us broadly address the challenge of learning poverty, which since 2015 with the outcome of EGMA and EGRA assessment, we noticed that only 2% of children, averagely around the age of 10, are able to proficiently read. Subsequent to that, World Bank also did a survey, and that was pre-COVID, and determined that in low-income countries, and of course where Ghana also forms a part, 83% of learners at the age of 10 are not able to read for understanding if you give them simple storybooks. If we are to conduct that same survey today, the numbers will even be higher. So that goes to give a rough indication of about 10% of learners who will be proficient in literacy, and of course by extension numeracy. And these are the very foundations upon which quality outcomes are built, and learning can be effective. And if we're able to imbibe in these skills in the early learners, then we are sure that as we are pursuing the SDG Goal 4, providing a lifelong opportunities for all, and ensuring that no child is left behind, we will have a solid foundation upon which the other later stages will also be quality. In curing this, in our attempt to cure this, and in augmenting what we've been able to do with Right to Play, we're going to conduct national standardized tests in December 17th, which is roughly 7 days from today, to ensure that in all public schools, class 4 pupils are administered a test. And this test is not to tease out which teacher is the best teacher or which school the poorest school, but it is focused on the learner to be able to diagnose what weaknesses they have in literacy, what weaknesses they have in numeracy. That feedback will enable the ministry and GES to be able to course correct when they are in default, the necessary interventions deployed, and when they get to pieces, we can test again and see which further interventions will be required. So these interventions have been very essential. But last but not the least, activity that in collaboration with Right to Play, the Ministry of Education and GES has undertaken this past few years, and of course this has also been done in collaboration with University of Education